Ready when you're ready.
Carl, I'll get that taken care of today. That's what we just talked about. Okay. I know you have that's a rule.
Yeah, it's winged on it and
I would go check.
you think it's
Could
us?
you give me his number? Okay.
The ones that are on the left.
We're on the
Who's
left.
that?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
it's Noah Bannister. I see now. I can read it now.
She has new cataracts.
Yes. Listen, I haven't seen so well since I was 30 years old. Oh, now it's 9 o'clock.
We'll get started as soon as Carl is back in the room.
Sense to me. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good. Oh, thanks. No.
Where did Carl go?
If it's the bathroom, I'm gonna be in trouble. We're ready for you. Oh, it's ready. It's ready. It's good. All right. He says it's recording.
All right, we'll get started then.
Makes me nervous.
Good morning. This is Monday, December 13th, 2021. And I'm calling to order this special meeting of the Holiday Island Suburban Improvement District Board of Commissioners.
We've all done it.
We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Secretary Brown, could you call the roll, please?
Yes, Chairman Dyer,
Here.
Commissioner Stamps.
Yes, here.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Childers
Here.
and Commissioner Brown. Commissioner Kellison is absent.
I declare a quorum. And has everyone had a chance to look at the agenda for today's special meeting?
Yes, Mr. Dyer, I'd like to make a couple of additions, slight additions. I'd like to do a recognition, number 7, just a very brief one. And under new business, I'd like to add an item, just discussion only, the feral hog situation in Holiday Island.
I'm not sure we can add anything to the new business without a 2-hour notice to the press and to the public.
Well,
We could do it under comments.
Yes.
I'll do a comment,
Yes.
public comment, 3 minutes.
I can show you a picture of a recent feral hog. So,
I would like it, maybe Carl can take note of this, and for a January workshop, I'd like it on that agenda to tell Mr. President, feral hog situation. Very important.
could I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. You said you had a ceremonial announcement?
Yeah, it could have come under announcements too. I'd like to thank the Chamber of Commerce for a really wonderful December 11th holiday celebration up at the park. And we had a float. Chairman Dyer and Mayor Keys were on it, and he had his cart, his John Deere cart decorated, and showed HICID and the city of Holiday Island working together. It was all decorated up and it looked great.
We
Everybody-
didn't win though. We didn't win.
No, you didn't win. I don't know why. I would vote for it. And I'd like to thank Holiday Island Hospitality Association, and particularly Bruce Larson and the officers for putting on a forum a few weeks ago. I thought that was very well done. And then I'd like to thank Commissioner Kellison, who's not here today, but for his service standing in as a commissioner for several months. Those are all. I guess you'd say the recognitions and thanks.
What about the high on the
Yeah.
Christmas lighting?
Oh, and the lighting, yeah. I wasn't involved in that one this year, except to store some of the trees and everything, but a whole group of people were down there at the front gate and did a wonderful job. They had a little bit of a challenge this year because the guardhouse is gone. And that's where a lot of the lights went, but it's looking beautiful down there, and I think it's a great entrance to Holiday Island. So thanks to all of those who worked in the cold.
That I have been a part of that team for the last few years, and typically there's about 5 of us
Yeah,
show up.
yeah.
And, you know, on a blustery morning, that can be miserable out there. You can't wear enough clothing. But this year, my gosh,
I know.
I think there were over 20 people there.
Yes.
I drove
They made
past.
short work of it.
Yes.
And of course, Mayor Keys always has everything well
Oh,
organized.
good.
And does a good job. but,
Because I was worried if there were more chiefs than Indians. you
There were a
know.
lot of chiefs.
That's what I worried about when I saw that huge group down there.
I think we had an Indian assigned each chief.
Yeah, there you go. Whatever works.
So, all right, any other announcements? The time has come for public comments. If there are any public comments, we would welcome them at this time. Keep in mind, there is a 3-minute limit on those comments. What say you all? Are there any raised hands, Carl?
Well, I have a texted comment to me that says, if HICID email is forwarded to your personal email, is that subject to FOIA? And this is from Donna Putnam, a resident on Holiday Island Drive, who's currently vacationing in Arizona. And yes, anything that comes out of the main office stays on the server in the cloud somewhere and is easily retrievable. So yes, yes.
Any other comments from the public, Carl? Or here in this room?
Don't see anybody.
Well, Chairman Dyer, I have a question on that and a clarification. If a citizen writes to me on my Yahoo personal account and asks something about feral hogs, for instance, that's not on the HICID.info.org. What do I do with that? Jane Doe asked me, what are we going to do about the feral hogs that are outside of my house? And you mentioned that at a meeting. How do I get that into the public record?
Well, we need to encourage people to use the HICID info email accounts for all of the commissioners, but understand that periodically we will all get both emails and telephone calls. And I think it's important that they be recorded. And I would say, make Carl aware of those emails and possibly email them to him once they cross into his HICID account, then they will be and can be stored forever.
Right.
Just an FYI, anything that the office sends to you and you respond back to Danny or anyone like that, if it comes to if I'm included in it, it automatically goes into a board envelope and is stored permanently. So all of your personal emails, HICID emails that are addressed to you via the email system, that is stored permanently immediately before you even open it. So every HICID info to a board member is stored automatically. We cannot store from a non-ISID email service because for security purposes is why we've invested in the Microsoft 365 and all of them, because Yahoo has been infiltrated several times, Gmail has been infiltrated several times, and so we have so many firewalls up to protect our community from their personal information. That's why we have to.
But if we receive something on our personal email account and we just forward it to you because you or Danny, then it's
Right,
gonna have gone through
it's gonna be stored.
ISID.info. So that would be probably the easiest way to do it, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
Plus, it would make you aware of what
Right.
the
It's
residents'
just really,
concern
really
is.
wonderful if you do that, because then it's stored automatically. Anything coming from you all is stored into a BOC folder, so it's automatically. So if someone requested to see what your email was, we could pull up just all of your emails and then have her.
I'm wondering, Chairman Dyer, if we could have Carrie, maybe Danny would write the memo or whatever, maybe Bob, and put it in the Holiday Island newsletter, which is read by a lot of people, that if they want to contact us by email, that's the address that they should use, kbrown at blah, blah, blah. Would you mind doing that? Do you think that's a good idea? Or
Yeah, I mean, it is out there on
It's on the
the
website.
website already, but,
and we have 2 new members today that we sworn in, so.
and those, it'll be updated. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Anything else? If not, we'll move to reports, and according to the agenda, we have none today. But we also have no old business to deal with. Thankfully, we moved through the budget last time.
Yes.
We'll move on to new business. And the first item under new business is the administering of the oath of office to Commissioner Stamps and Phyllis Sherrod, who are both winners in the recent commission election. And we have Jack Deaton here to administer the oath of office. So if you would, sir, let's come out here. Where would you like to have him?
Well, right near that. Our speaker holder, our microphone. And you need to face this way.
That little tiny thing on top of that is the microphone, and it picks up very well.
About right here?
Sure.
Yes.
That's right. Okay, raise your right hand, please. Do you, Phyllis, and do you, Larry, solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arkansas, that you will be here bear true faith and allegiance to the same and defend them against all enemies whatsoever, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties of the office of commissioners of the Holiday Island Suburban Improvement District, Carroll County, state of Arkansas, according to the best of your abilities. So help you God.
I do.
I now pronounce you on that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Jeff.
I could have all three of you come over here, and I need signatures. Larry, we'll start with you. Sign right there, sir. It's presidential.
You should have been a doctor, shouldn't you?
Good Lord.
That's got every bit of my name in it.
You say so.
When you sign 5,000 bonds,
Mhm.
and it's got to have all your name on it.
Jack, if you could sign the bottom line, sir. Congratulations, Phyllis.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Larry.
Thank you.
We're excited to have you both back on board here. so
Absolutely are.
Thank you very much.
Now we want you to sit
Yeah,
here.
I can sit.
Thank you, Jack.
Jack, thank
Big
you for coming.
people's table.
Jack, thank you.
I'll take your.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you, Jeff.
Sure y'all did a good job.
You guys got off easy. Eat all that last year, didn't we? And boy, I was sitting there going, I hope I can remember all these little phrases.
Kind of like the Elks Initiation.
Yeah.
He asked me, he said, do you want me to just read, you say I do, or do you want to repeat? And I said,
You
You read
picked the right option, believe
you
me.
read.
We're now official. The next item under new business is the election of new board officers. And this is an important part of what our board does. You know, the officers, even though we all have the same voting privileges when we conduct business, the officers do step it up a little bit, I guess, and do have a little more responsibility. And I think it's important to remember that whoever we select as officers for our board, and I will interject here that our regulations forbid current officers from having back-to-back years in that office. So we can't reelect anybody to the same office, but it is important to select officers who will be readily available. The district manager and other staff members do rely heavily upon the board officers, not necessarily to get approval of decisions, but as a sounding board, I guess, more than anything. And I know Lawrence and I had a very good relationship. He helped me a lot as a new board member, but likewise, we often communicated 3 or 4 times a day and saw each other very frequently. And that's kind of carried over with Danny Presley as our current district manager. And it's a very healthy thing. And I know Danny also has contacted Suzanne frequently. And you know, again, as a sounding board. So as we select officers, we need to keep that all in mind, I think. So any discussion around selection of officers?
No, I agree with you, Chairman Dyer. I was chair last year and with Lawrence Blood, and as he had a situation terrible with his wife passing away. I was his friend and he was my colleague in terms of learning to be chair, and he relied, as you said, on me for a lot of input. And so that was, it's a really nice relationship, and it helps the district because when you have experience, you also can help, particularly Danny, who's new here in a high sit situation. So it helps to have a good working relationship with all of the board members, but particularly the chair and the vice chair.
That said,
I would like to make a motion, sir.
how about a nomination?
Nomination, I'm sorry, nomination. I would like to nominate for the chair of the board with honor. It's a privilege for Suzanne Childers to be our chair.
Thank you.
Chairperson.
I would second that nomination. So we just call for all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Maybe I should. But I have to tell you.
That happens pretty swift.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I just have to say my hat's off to you. And, you know, when we signed on for this last December, we had no idea what this year was going to bring. And it has been definitely more eventful than we ever suspected. And you have absolutely managed to carry it all year long with our disruption in personnel and a 2-week snowfall and getting, I think you set a good standard of getting information out to our residents, and I really appreciate that. And that's something that I would intend to carry on.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. You know, over the weekend, I was thinking, because it is going to be a little bit of a relief. I'm not sure the phone calls will stop, but it will be a little bit of a time to catch my breath, I guess. But I was thinking about everything that happened over the last year. And I would, you know, I knew nothing.
I know.
New on the board, the board suddenly fragmented, you know, with Mayor Keys leaving and everything. And right away, the fire chief decides he's going to retire. So we dove into that. And then I think the next thing was the ice storm.
The ice storm hit.
And as we worked our way through that, then the sub-zero temperature storm hit. And then the following week, we got 9 inches of snow, which, and at the same time, we were dealing with the pandemic. And I spent many a day driving people in my 4-wheel drive truck up to the pharmacy to get their vaccinations for
Did
COVID.
you, Mom? I didn't know that.
And took people to work at different places, you know, and it was an amazing time, and but we made it through.
We made it.
And I, you know, I can't say enough about our Holiday Island staff, the roads department, the water department, all those people, our staff here. I mean, they nearly missed a day of work. They stepped up and they got it done. We just got through that though. And then my friend Lawrence, who promised me that he would stay here as long as we were on board.
It's just- That was one of the things that we predicated all this on, was that he would stay here.
And he called me up and he said, you know, I think I'm gonna retire. Whoa. And I can't tell you, you talk about responsibility for a volunteer in our community. I lay awake many a night thinking about how in the world we're gonna find a new district manager. And Linda, you've been through that. I mean, it's a very hard, challenging thing. You don't even know where to begin, you know? If I'd have needed a software engineer for autonomous vehicles, I could have handled that,
Autonomous vehicles, no less.
but to find a district manager, I mean, it just kept going like that all year,
I
you know? And, I mean, the rec center, just one thing after another, so.
A burglary.
Yeah, the burglary and the loss of our computers and, you know, it just, our plate was full all the time.
I think that's called baptism by fire.
Yeah, and I know, you know, I didn't do a perfect job but I did the best I could, I guess, under the circumstances. And for anybody I have offended, I apologize. But, okay.
I just
enough of that.
have to say, if I get to the point that I need someone's 4-wheel driving expertise, I know who I'm gonna call on.
Yep. You know, I was born and reared in snow country.
Oh, you're ahead of me. Let's hope we have our 2-week snow event over with for a while.
Yeah. Mary, my wife, today on her cell phone, her Facebook page, popped up a memory of a year ago today. And she was building a snowman in the front yard of our house a year ago today.
I remember that.
Yeah. All right,
Okay,
now we need to consider a person to serve as the vice chair.
and I would like to nominate Bob Dyer as vice chairman. Did such a great job. We'll keep you two together.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Yep.
Aye.
All right, thank you. And secretary.
And I would like to nominate Phyllis Surratt to serve as secretary.
Would you be willing to accept that?
I will, yes.
I convinced her that it wasn't that big a job.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what my kids told me about as well.
Yeah.
The motion's been, or the
Nomination.
nomination has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Phyllis.
Thank you.
Now you learn by being thrown into the fire.
Yeah.
Larry, you and I have a year of doing nothing but.
Oh, no.
No,
I think Larry's plate is
Larry's plate's full.
very full between here and being the vice chair of
Working.
the Chamber of Commerce and
I have got to learn to say no.
I know.
It ain't easy.
No, I'm on Knights of Columbus, I'm on Chamber of Commerce, and I do work.
And you work, you're a working commissioner.
My wife pays them to send me out there 4 hours a day. I'm sure of that.
Yeah. Larry, I was thinking of getting a speech therapist to help me form the N and the O. Come on.
Yeah.
I haven't found anybody yet.
the final item on our agenda under new business is discussion of our December 20th meeting. And that that's just a week away, and we still do not have the bids for consideration as far as repairs needed for the rec center. That would probably have been the biggest item that we would have discussed at that meeting or had on the agenda, but without that being there, we also need to discuss at some point the 2022 amenity fees. And that has been distributed to all of us.
Yeah.
And
Well, and just to add in there, the guys here at the main office put all the numbers in the right places, but I took it and I played with it, reformatted it, and I have it on a one-page printable document. So I'll send it to Danny and Danny can send it out. And Carl, you might want to proof it, be sure. I really didn't move any numbers in any cells. I was just hiding columns.
Good.
But you might want to be absolutely sure it's accurate.
the only amenity fee that is looming in the very near future would be the trail fees for the golf cart paths. And I think that they begin renewing those in January, but there's no urgency on that. The rest of the fees, and I know that like the season golf passes don't take effect till April. The pool passes, I don't think anybody wants to buy a pool pass right now. So
And that's interesting. I wonder why they're off. You think they'd be
Yeah,
at the same time?
they should sync up, shouldn't
Sync
they?
up, yeah.
And maybe that's something we could talk.
Yeah.
There probably was a reason at some point in
The
time.
cart rentals run year to year. So if you buy it in October, then you renew it in October. But
Oh,
that's on the lease carts.
okay. What about the cart path? I mean, the cart
The
path
trail fees.
usage.
I think that is due by the end of March, if I remember correctly.
You mean my sticker on the golf
Yeah.
cart? That's January to December 31.
Yeah, it's annual.
If we had to, we could pass a motion for that one item at the January meeting.
I doubt there's any real urgency.
I would think so. I mean,
Plus, then you've got the question of prorating.
Yeah.
And collecting.
Oh,
All of that said, our next regular meeting would be January 17th of 2022.
can we go back for a second? Do you need a motion to cancel that meeting?
Well, we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, we will, yes,
Okay.
for sure.
Oh.
Our next regular meeting would be January 17th. To do what we have agreed to do and have a work session the week prior would be January 10th. So that would be a special meeting, a work session.
Work session.
So if everyone is in agreement, we could cancel today's meeting. And
Next week's meeting.
or, I'm sorry, cancel next week's meeting.
It's still Chairman Dyer till 10 o'clock, right?
Right.
For this meeting. But anyway, Bob, I would, under Commissioner comments and scheduling, agenda scheduling, on the 10th, if we schedule on these, if we cancel on December 20th, on the workshop of January 10th, I would like the chair and Danny Presley to come up for the board, some way of paying for the remodeling or the demolition of the rec center. I'm not sure, I have no idea where the money is going to come from, if it's 200, 300, 400,000. I would like to get an idea, whatever the bid comes in, and before we approve a bid on remodeling or doing something with the rec center, that we have some idea of how this is going to be paid for. Will it be a loan? Will it be partial? The reserves being lowered or raised. We talked about that before. We've never had a big project that I've been on the board 5 years like that, but I would like some study of it and maybe a few suggestions before we get into the actual looking at a contract for that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we will have plenty of time. We did set aside $154,000 in our budget that we approved
Right.
recently to get that started. And in my discussions with the district manager, it appears that at year end for 2021, the district is going to be in very, very good, very strong financial situation and have.
Yeah, but we got a lot of loose ends too. We got the water leakage up on Mission Hills.
But that's a whole other thing, Larry. We've got a grant that we're working on to get that attacked. So,
Good.
yeah,
That's good.
Let's pray for a grant.
that's a little over $7 million grant.
One thing I'd like to bring up too, what are we doing is the contract with the sheriff's office. Are we going to transfer that over to the city?
No,
Why not?
they don't have the money.
Well, they need to come up with the money. Because we don't have any policing power.
Well, that's correct. And that's why we have a contract with the sheriff. We also, though, have a security fee that we have on the water bill
I don't know.
that it needs to be spent on that sheriff's contract. If we walk away from that sheriff's contract, Larry, then we would have to either modify or eliminate the security fee on the water bill, and the city can't put a security fee like that.
Right. Plus, part of that security fee goes to the fire department also. I think it's
Yes.
decided split.
That's true, yeah.
Well, the thing that bothers me is when I see where ordinances need to be passed by the city, things need to be done, and we can't direct any enforcement on that because we don't have that authority. Only the city does. And if they get the ordinances passed, then they need to be, that contract with the sheriff's office or whoever needs to be in the name of the city. And the suburban improvement district.
Yes, and well, not entirely though. We've had numerous meetings with the mayor. Danny and I meet with the mayor, Suzanne will now with Danny on a monthly basis. And this is one of the items that we've been talking about. And they're going to find a solution because they plan to hire a code enforcement officer. And this is all part of establishing a process for the city to go through the court systems. And so they may fund, I know the mayor was going to meet with the sheriff to see about funding a second officer. But they are going to work through that. But right now, it's the ball is in the city's court for them to come up with a solution. And I think it's prudent for us as the HISA board to provide continuation until that solution is found.
I agree.
But Larry, I think you bring up a good point because it's concerned me over the last maybe 6 months or so. And I think the city council has done a good job, of really a monumental job of getting all these things written and ordinances passed and so forth. And but on the sheriff's contract, I've had calls and comments of citizens about where are we? Do we really need 2 sheriff deputies? Do we really need a police chief, police men, and the deputy on contract for a high set? And that's basically why I wanted a meeting a few months ago, which we had, but I may have been the only one out of 11 or 12 council members and BOC members that wanted it. But what are you gonna do? What are we gonna do? How much money is over here for this? How much money is in ISIT for that? And what are we allowed to do under regulation and rules? And I'm still not clear. Bob just explained it pretty well, but going into the new year, I'm still really not clear. I remember like 76,000 was dedicated in city council money or something like that. It may not be, I may be off a lot, but it was for a police department. And so now we're on December 13th, and it may be that we don't have 76,000 in the city budget, and so I'm really confused. As a board of commission members, I'm confused. Bob clarified it a little bit ago. I'm going to come to the meeting tomorrow of yours in this room at 1 o'clock and try to listen and learn more about what the city, how you're going about different decisions and so forth. But I think that's one that I don't think we need 2 deputies or a sheriff deputy and a policeman or policewoman. I don't. We had our deputy Aaron Engel, who was wonderful, corporal. He was looking for another deputy, but mainly for fraud. Well, the little old lady that went to Dollar General to buy $500 worth of gift cards to send to some hacker, and then Dollar General was smart enough to say, no, we're not going to, you shouldn't do that. But a sheriff's deputy or policeman can't be out at night at 7 o'clock at the home where they're hacking. Okay, so fraud is a very, very bad problem. But I'm not sure having another officer here is going to do anything about it.
Well, I think that they've got such a shortage in the sheriff's department. They don't have the personnel.
Right.
Yes.
And this kind of stuff, according to the ads I read in the newspaper all the time.
Right.
So obviously they're shorthanded, and putting on another one for here, he's not going to be here. The sheriff's going to send him to Green Forest or Alpena or somewhere. But
Well, if there was money in a contract for an additional deputy from the sheriff's office or another shift, this wouldn't be 2 during the day. It would be for another shift. I think there is a very real need for patrol activity in our community at night. And, in my mind, knowing what I know about the prowlers and people trying to break into homes at night and stealing catalytic converters off people's cars, folks, there's a lot going on.
We didn't get a chance to comment on that, Bob. I agree with you, what you just said.
Yeah.
We didn't get a discussion at this table for that.
Well, I'm not sure it's any of our business. So if the city's going to do that,
Then we don't need a deputy at 48,000 out of our funds, other than the security fee. Or are you saying we should have a deputy and a city patrol?
no, that's not what I'm saying at all.
What are you
I'm
saying?
saying a second deputy so that we have more than 8 hours of
And who would pay for that?
the city would pay for the additional one.
But
I see.
didn't you say they need to form a police department?
sure they do.
As a city?
There is language in the state statutes that can have a marshal, can have a police department, there's a lot of different options that are available to the city through state statutes.
They can actually do
And-
interlocal.
And
Can't they do interlocal agreement?
yeah, we could do an interlocal. There's a lot of options, Ken, and we just have to be patient. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
And let the city come up with the best option, because they know what their budget is, they know what their appetite is for enforcement, and but I know there's a lot of interest in the community for code enforcement. A lot of nuisance violations and public health violations that I'm looking to the city to help us resolve.
Hopefully,
And,
yes.
I know they're gonna find the best way.
Yeah.
Guys, it's not easy though.
Well,
Yeah.
We
yeah.
just need to be patient.
Yeah, the city has to crawl before it can run.
Yeah, they've had to invent the wheel practically, and
Yeah.
hands off to all of y'all that have done that.
And anybody
It's only
that-
been a year. And
That's right.
You
And
got it.
anybody that is a critic of thinking this hasn't happened fast enough has no idea the spider web that they've got.
No, they don't.
And the state confusion, you know, I don't know if you all know, but the city has actually had to file a lawsuit against Carroll County to get Carroll County to release the monies that the state statutes say they're entitled to.
Right.
And isn't that true, Linda?
I heard they were negotiating,
Are
still
they?
negotiating with the sheriff, but threatening the lawsuit.
Okay, so, yeah.
Let's
So
let's hope that works.
it hasn't been easy, and
No.
I commend everybody involved in
Yeah,
the
no, they're
the
working
mayor
hard
and the
and doing
council
good. Yeah,
for what they're doing.
It just
That-
takes time, patience.
Carroll County is not going to be easy to work with.
Well, and they don't want to release any money that they've got either, you know,
No,
we would be
I
the
just-
same way probably.
Keep in mind, they're a very poor county.
That's true, that's
I
true.
just went through the protesting my assessment evaluation with the county. And we're not, how do I put this? It's kind of like whenever I first came here, I said, well, I'm from Carroll County, you know, I kind of be like back at home. And I was told real quick, but John Cross, you're from the Eastern District. So that meant I was a foreigner.
A foreigner.
Living in the Western District.
Well, Bob, I'll finish up on that. I think you did a good job of summarizing, but I think that's the reason that Larry asked for, and we have approved in January, having a work session first and a business meeting second on the next Monday, because this discussion we just had here, one of the feelings that I had when you and Danny Presley and the sheriff meet, or you and the mayor and Danny meet on things, is that there's some things we trust you to do that discussion and come up with good solutions, but sometimes we're in the dark about what is happening because you're meeting over in the office there, and we're up in our homes or whatever, and we're elected to make decisions that impact everybody.
Mhm.
So at a workshop, we could even have the sheriff. I don't even know his name anymore. I think I voted for him, but I don't even know his name. And he's been meeting about these important issues with the city and the mayor and chair of BOC. And I don't mean that we have to have a meeting on everything and micromanage everything, but we should be aware of what's going on, and a workshop might be a way to do that.
Perhaps I can ask Danny to, in this agenda where we have reports, give him an opportunity to do a district manager report.
Yeah.
To report on things along
He's
that line.
asked me.
Yes,
We used to
that
have-
might help. a
Yeah.
little. He could kind of go over some of the things that have happened during the month.
And to ease everybody's mind, the meetings that we've had with the mayor, been ongoing all year. If there were any issues that were the nature where it would have called for us voting on anything or taking, as a board, taking any action, most definitely they would have been brought before y'all. You know, that I don't think there's any intent to keep secrets or anything. The unfortunate thing about FOIA is that it eliminates a lot of the opportunities to maybe have informal discussions, and
It's the most difficult thing I've ever worked on.
it's a challenge. But there's a reason,
Yes.
you know, and like everything in life, things go to one extreme because of something bad that happened. And
Yep.
hopefully at some point the pendulum will come back and find a happy place. Right, Carl?
Right, you have a question from someone.
Okay,
CNJ, when will the November and December approved financial statements be ready?
Those financial statements have been approved by the board and are on the website.
Not November, December, I don't think.
No,
November and December. I think what
Oh.
she's asking is when will our financials be done for the month of November? And when will our financials be done for the month of December? And,
I remember approving October.
Yeah, we did.
October's been approved. November, it is only December 17th. No, it's not 17th.
Not
13.
13.
13. We are, so just to give you a little synopsis, we are waiting for our bank statements from the bank. And the mail service, we're part of the US Postal Service. We have to wait till they come in our box, or we can retrieve them electronically. And we have retrieved them electronically, but in order for us, we want the statements to be here to verify if there has been changes or anything like that from the bank before. But we're using them, we've inputted the data. Our CPA that we've taught, that you all have hired, is working on doing some journal entry adjustments right now. So we generally don't have the statements ready, the financial statements ready, until everything comes in. So we're at the mercy of the credit card companies, we're at the mercy of, there's a lot of people that we wait on. And so it's not that we've got everything in, but we still have to verify everything. And then after we verify it, then we give it to Jennifer. And then Jennifer verifies that we verified it correctly. And then she issues the financial statements. I think we probably have the November's financial statements before the 20th of December. But I'm speaking on the information that I know that we've received. We are at the mercy of the US Postal Service, everybody getting their information to us. We inputted everything, we just have to verify, and then Jennifer has to verify. So that's what the delay is.
thank you, Carl, because I misunderstood when you read it.
Yeah. But that helps to know that there's a whole lot of process that has to happen based on information that comes to you before the month end can be closed.
Yes, ma'am. The water deposits is an example, just giving you some examples. Water deposits come in, they are posted, then they go to the bank. Then we have to wait for the statement to be generated from the bank to verify that we have reported the actual date properly, even though we know when we put it in the bank. But it can be after 3 o'clock when we get it there, so it should show on the next business day. And so we have to verify all of that stuff before we can make it legal and that. So that's what we wait on. So like right now, I'm waiting for the deposits to come. And then after they come, then I actually journal enter every deposit after it's already been inputted. I have to verify it and put it in. And then Jennifer, the CPA, has to verify that my keystrokes were correct. And then after that, then she does a journal entry to take it from our general banking account and move it to the water deposit account. And so there's many steps that we have to go through. And so I'm just trying to let you know that that is the process.
And I appreciate you telling us that, because I don't think very many people understand the amount of level of detail it takes for all of that to happen, and that there are so many manual journal entries that have to occur. They're not computerized and automatically roll over and that sort of stuff.
We do spreadsheet after spreadsheet after spreadsheet because it's your all's money. And so we want to make sure that we count for every penny, you know, and so that's the process. So it does take a while. So
Carl, let me understand, if I pay $54.20 on my water bill last month, and it's taken out of my CS bank account into a HISA's account, then when you see that on November 23rd or whatever it was that I paid it automatically from my withdrawal, that you have to verify that on November 23rd, Ken Brown paid $54, and then Jennifer has to assert that Carl made that to correct date insertion of $54.
yes,
Wow.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
I didn't.
I surely am not an accountant, because I didn't think that we needed that many In this day and age with computers, Linda, you and I were on the board when we bought a lot of software, and I'm not criticizing Carl, don't get me wrong. And I'm not criticizing Jennifer at all, but it just seems like a very, very laborious situation. And Suzanne has been down here and talked to you more than I have, and understands
We
computers
have
a
three
lot more than I
different
have. But
computer systems.
if there's any way that we could get this, like, we won't get November and December's, the Board of Commissioners will not approve November, December's financial until January 17th. Am I correct on that?
Mhm.
January 17th is the next official business meeting, the fourth Monday of January. And it won't be on the web until January 17th from November and December, right?
Well, we can't post it until it's been approved. We can still provide it to the board. And if you walk into our office here, we can provide you with a financial statement that has not been approved by the board of commissioners. But we will have it available.
Well, I don't think it's the board that's concerned about the financials. I think it's some of the citizens.
Well,
that
the
want to
citizens
see.
can come in here at any time and we can present the report to them.
Okay, good.
But,
That's good.
yeah.
And Carl, am I right that, please correct me if I'm wrong, this is the way I understand it, that you basically have three separate computer systems,
That's
depending on what it is.
Right.
And they don't necessarily talk money, because in order to get them to talk to each other,
That's
You've got to-
archaic. There's no reason for that. None, well, none whatsoever.
Soft water and assessments is handled through one bookkeeping system. Easy Links takes care of all of the golf pro area, the reservations. It takes care of all the food and beverage. It takes care of all the cart rentals. It takes care of all the rec center and all that stuff. That is all done in one thing. Then that has been Lou set that up to be integrated into CenterPoint. CenterPoint is our main accounting software, but Softail, which is the water and assessments, it would cost us probably $100,000 to $200,000 to upgrade that system to get it into CenterPoint. And so we have to do this in order to be physically responsible and civic responsible to the community, because it's just like previously I was telling you about electronic meters. You know, that's a process that we have to go into. It's a process that the previous boards have looked at and decided they didn't have the financial money to do it. And our system, like when we had our burglary, they stole one of our water meters. And so we're down to one meter reading gun, which we discussed last month. And so then I asked them to replace it with two, and the board approved that we could do that. So we've ordered the guns. So the guns are now being upgraded into and loaded into the system for our soft water billing. And then when that comes in, then we have to send those guns to the soft water company that does our water billing. And that's all gonna be interfaced to download into that system. And then these new guns will allow us to be able to eventually, when it's approved and when we have enough money, to upgrade the meters on residences. And then we'll be able to go around and read meters by driving by versus having to physically walk and do that. We actually reread meters. 20% of the meters are always reread second time each month. So we're paying manpower for that. It's being rekeyed in the office. We have to retransmit that report each time. We have to update that. And I'm just trying to explain to you what's been going on. And so then we do that. Our assessments go into the same program as the water department. And Carroll County, you know, they've been selling property on, I call it almost a weekly basis. They sell different lots. And so that's loaded up into the system. Regina has to go in and print those deeds. Then we have to key all that in, and then we have to bill it, and then we have to send the bills. And so that's why there's influx of assessments that are not current, and that it keeps rolling. But that's just another phase of what we're doing. So I'm trying to keep you abreast of what has really been going on.
And I think that's important because I don't think any of us as residents understood how much activity that it takes to get all of this done. And the sheer fact that we have 3 systems that don't interface with each other and they would be so expensive to interface. Yeah, it helps us understand.
Easy Links is a good system. And it does a great inventory and management of your assets. And it controls the revenue that's coming in. It keeps track of that. And then that system, Lou was good integrating that into Centerpoint. So it goes over into the system, but we have a check and balance because there is deposits that come from Easy Links that is MasterCard, Visa, Discover Card. Those transactions go in on a daily basis or transmitted to the credit card company. But we may not get that money for 3, 4, 10 days, 2 weeks. We may not get that money generated. So that's why we have somebody in the office that is verifying when those funds come in. So we'll have a deposit. We may have a deposit that says $300 today from the rec center. We may only get $100 that goes to the bank that day because we're still waiting on the funds from MasterCard, Visa, and Discover. And they come in whenever they decide to send that money. Well, then we have this one deposit that has 3 different entries on it that we have to verify that when they come in. End of the month, right now, end of the month, there's stuff that was deposited on the 29th that we may not get for a week. But that comes in December, so we have funds that are not allocated, that are suspended because we don't have the revenue, but we have reports that say we should have that money, and we have to research that. So it takes time. So that's why we can't do the report on the day that everyone on the 30th, because we're working, I think about 2 weeks behind.
And that's not unusual.
That is not unusual.
Our households run that far behind them. I'm sorry, but they do. And
So I'm just trying to give you the.
yeah,
I'm
and
sorry.
I think you did a very good job of explaining the complexity. But
And that's what
folks
I really appreciate it.
Yes,
I
and that's
really
what,
appreciate it.
understand the federal
The
government
newbie
has,
here.
understand the federal government has over 6,000 computer systems that do not talk to each other. So, and I know, having been in the business world in my previous life, my employer, we had at least 50 that didn't talk to each other. So,
Well, you really want that.
and in an ideal situation, it would really be nice to have them all linked and
and the other thing we
speaking the
have to
same
think
language.
about too, is they're doing all this while the phone's ringing all the time.
yeah. So let's go back to the question that came in, and the question was, when will we, I thought it was the ones that we'd already approved, and that's through October. We are current, approved, and on the website.
Yes, sir.
November, we'll probably see that around the 20th of December, and January, it'll be around the 17th of December of 2021. We will see and approve around January 17th.
I agree.
So,
I think we will have you financials for December. We possibly may have November's, possibly might have December financials for your work session in January. But that's really pushing. I just wanted you to understand why it's.
no,
But
we're good.
we can't pass any motions or approve financials in a work session, so it'll have to be 24th. We only can discuss things. Larry, is that correct?
The 17th is the date.
As this work session. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
The 10th is the work
10th is
session.
the work session.
I got the wrong date.
Yeah, so, all right, let's get back on track with a
Just one last comment, Bob.
Okay.
I just don't understand, and I appreciate what you just explained, Carl. But for 51 years, we've been running a HICID, and we had an audit every year, and we didn't have anywhere near the computers that we do in 2021. But we always passed audit, and we didn't have a CPA, and I think computers, if anything, have made it more complex rather than less. But I don't know if it's more demands from the government or from our auditors or what, but it just seems like we've added people, we've added hours, we've added frustrations. And we've got only 3 or 4 points of sale, the rec center and the pro shop and so forth. And here, I guess it's because I'm not a CPA or an accountant that I don't understand that it's just very, very time consuming and frustrating for you all to make this thing happen. But I guess I'm really appreciative of Marilyn Clave and the work that she did, because even though the financials were somewhat delayed, a lot of her work over the years was by hand, by pencil and paper and computer assist. And anyway, I hope that maybe we can see some solutions or improvements over the next year. That would be nice, but I'm not complaining. I'm just making a statement that I've been on the board 5 years. It's the end of my 5th year, and it just seems like it's for a $4.7 million budget. There's other businesses that have $47 million budgets, and it seems like it goes either more smoothly or whatever. But,
I think our business runs very smoothly. We're doing it with fewer people than we had before. Our salary budgets are going to fall way below projections as far as what we pay. And, you know, there's a lot of complexity, but people demand more today as far as information than they previously did. And you know, to your point, I commend everybody that's been involved in the past, as well as the current staff. They do an excellent job. And
I didn't say they didn't.
no.
Well, we're in bad need of having qualified people in the positions that we have. Number one, we need an accountant.
We have an accountant.
We got an accountant whenever she wants to be our accountant. She's not full-time. We need a full-time manager in the office in here that knows accounting, that knows the system, and can put it together. Instead, we got all these people running around everywhere that don't know what they're doing. And then we got a lady from Texarkana that has to come up here. And there's, what's wrong with people from NWAC, Northwest Arkansas? Why do they have to come from Texarkana? It's not run right. It's not run efficiently, and it's not run right. And now I'm going to be vocal about this because I've got 37 years of running operations just like this. And there's no need for it to be 20 days before you get a financial statement. Yeah, unaudited. Every bit of it's unaudited. Every month is unaudited because, first of all, you don't pay an auditor to audit every monthly statement. You pay them one time a year. But we need some organization. We need a manager or whatever that knows what the heck they're doing. Number one, they need to know how to run an office. So anyway, that's my speech of the day. And more to come.
Well, I would differ with you. I think our manager does a very, very good job. He's brought order to our office. Our staff are very highly qualified. To say that they're not qualified, Larry, I think is.
Can they do accounting?
The portion of it that they do,
Then why do we have to have somebody from Texarkana to come up here and do it?
we do not need a CPA on staff 30 days a month.
Yeah.
There's not that much work.
I didn't say a CPA, I said an accountant.
Well, we have a CPA though, and it's 3 days a month's work, and that's it. And I don't think we have the financial
Then we need to
ability to
reorganize.
have one to sit around for 30 days when there's three.
Then you got the right man, get the right manager.
I feel comfortable with the way, the process that we have in order now,
I don't.
and it's working.
Could I have a motion, one way or another, to either plan to have our meeting on the 20th of December or cancel that meeting, please?
I move that we cancel the December 20th meeting due to lack of agenda items for that date.
I second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Brown, seconded by Commissioner Surratt, that we cancel the December 20th meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. So our next regular meeting will be on Monday, January 17th of 2022. We will also conduct a special meeting, a workshop to go over the agenda items that are coming up in the regular meeting. That special meeting will be on January 10th, another Monday at 9 a.m.
Could I have a question, Chairman?
Yes.
I thought we were gonna have a workshop on the third Monday, and or is our regular meeting always gonna be on the third Monday, like it says in our regulations?
Yeah.
So-
Yes.
By regulation.
And
yes,
the work
third
session,
Workshop,
the
okay.
second.
Second, one, okay.
Yeah.
Got it. I just want to clarify. Thank you. So 10th and 17th.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Oh, do you need a motion on that?
No.
Okay.
That concludes our new business. Do we have any public comments at this time? Again, 3-minute time limit, please. I think we have one in the audience.
Well, I just wanted to make a couple of comments about some things you were discussing.
Linda,
I'm Linda Graves,
Okay,
29 Table Rock Drive.
thank you.
And I wanted to just make a couple of comments on things we've been discussing here. And I'm not speaking for the mayor, and I'm only speaking because I'm a council member on the city council. But I can tell you that the ordinance we passed, I think it was the last meeting we had, last month's meeting, November meeting. We did pass an ordinance that called for us to implement a sheriff's or a police department. That's words that statutes use. And Dan explained it at the meeting that in order to fulfill our police department requirement for a city, we would be taking a contract. We authorized Dan to negotiate a contract with the sheriff's office for a deputy. So I just want to clarify the wording there, so it's not so confusing. We're not going to staff, we're not going to hire anybody to staff a police department. We're just merely going to take out a contract because that would fulfill our requirement to provide police protection of some sort for the city. And I do believe that the Board of Commissioners and the city need to get on the same page with what we're each doing here. I certainly intend to attend as many Board of Commissioners meetings as I can, and I know several of us on the city council have been doing that. And I would encourage all of you to participate in our city meetings. And that way have a better understanding of what the city is doing. There's no reason why you can't talk to individual members of the city council or the mayor. There's no FOIA that gets in that way at all. I will also make one other comment about FOIA. it's a difficult thing. And I know you all know that, and I've dealt with it for quite a while myself. But there is nothing in FOIA that requires private conversations between a board member and a citizen, non-board member, to be FOIA. That does not have to be recorded anywhere. It does not have to be stored anywhere on any computer. If you got an email in your personal account from a citizen about city business, that is between you and the citizen. That citizen enjoys the right of privacy, not to be FOIA'd on his comments or her comments. So I want to just make that distinction for you. Don't feel like you're going to have to send a record of every private conversation you have with a citizen. I wouldn't want my private conversations to you guys made available via FOIA, and it's not required. If you want to and think it's useful to have it recorded, yeah, forward it to your city email and get it recorded that way. If you want it on paper and recorded, but that should be private between you and the citizen. Stuff between two of you, or that discusses city business, that is definitely FOIA-able, and you need to be careful and make sure you're following all the regulations on FOIA. That's my 2 cents.
Could I ask a question, Linda? Thanks for coming today. When you mentioned the police department being set up, was there any money involved in that allocation of any?
Yeah, there was an allocation of money, and it's in the budget that we have, and that is intended to be spent on that contract. He hasn't negotiated it yet, so I don't know how much it's going to be.
Okay.
And I would also ask, has the contract that you talked about in the meeting, one of the previous meetings for the Board of Commissioners, is that sheriff's contract been negotiated?
I know the district manager has met with the sheriff to talk about it, and it's the intent to renew it. It expires December 30th.
But you don't have a signed contract at this point?
We do not,
Okay,
no.
I wanted that.
But again, we had it in our budget as well, too.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
One last thing, Linda, the person that you would hire, whether it be like Bob said, a marshal or a deputy or a policeman or whatever, would they be the one that would go to the district court if there's a code violation that you have to take it up? I'm not talking about speeding tickets or.
Right, you're talking about something that's written in our municipal code.
code enforcement officer.
Yes,
Right. And
yes.
is that what you would need that person to do to take that citation
Yes.
about whatever, health code or whatever?
Right.
Okay.
That's it. Yes,
So they would not only be traffic violations, right?
right.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I would think the sheriff's deputies would take care of traffic violations. The code enforcement officer would take care of other kinds of violations, health, sanitation, that are written into our ordinances and become part of our municipal code.
Okay, thank you very much.
And Linda, while you're there, my understanding is that you're the one that's doing the website for the city.
Yes.
And I want to thank you for that, because I have gone to that numerous times to look at it, to beg, borrow, steal some of the verbiage off of it.
Guilty.
And also the financial documents that are on there are easy to see. So thank you for your work on that.
It's really excellent. When I prepared for the forum, I got a lot of it.
It was a priority from the beginning to have the website be key in us rolling out the city, so that as much, practically all the information we have is available to everyone.
It's very well done.
When is your regular meeting?
Our next regular meeting is the 21st. And in fact, Ken, you were saying you were going to attend the meeting that's tomorrow, which is the City Planning Commission meeting. So we have 2 bodies now, all made up of the council members. One of them is just working on the planning and the ordinances that go into planning and zoning. And so we're about to finish the major document for planning and zoning in that meeting tomorrow.
I'm glad you clarified that, because I had a neighbor saying they wanted to build a home on a lot near me. Would that person come to that meeting and present? building plans?
Eventually, that's where they might come.
But not
I
tomorrow.
think actually our process calls for them to go through the building inspector. And if the building inspector sees some issue with the zoning ordinances, or use, or, you know, use ordinances, they would,
And
might come before the planning commission to get a variance.
who is that building inspector now?
If we haven't hired one,
Oh,
that's another open position that will be hired.
for tomorrow, they wouldn't bring plans, they
We're
would
not
wait.
to that point. We don't have anything,
Okay.
we don't have any ordinances established
I understand.
for that.
But later, let's say it's February or March or April, they want to build a home, they go to the building inspector first, show them everything, make sure it's cut back, setbacks and all that. And if everything is copacetic, they would go ahead and build, or do they have to come to the planning commission first, like before up at the park?
Well, they have to get a building permit
Okay,
and go through that goes through the planning commission, basically through the building inspector. Actually, I take back what I said a second ago. We did pass an ordinance for the building code at the last meeting.
okay,
Would encourage you to maybe look at that. And I don't remember the number, but it's now posted on the website.
Okay. Thank you.
So,
And that is essentially the state fire code, is that not correct?
well, it does tell you, the building code does say we are following all the state codes.
Yeah.
But it also puts forth the process that someone would use when they want to build.
Okay.
Build a residence or commercial. So,
And just so everyone knows, the developer planning commission that had existed here for many, many years held their last meeting, I think on the 6th, was it, or
First Friday.
the first Friday, so.
and we will start taking on those functions.
Has-
first.
Any arrangements been made to take over all the records and stuff?
Yes,
Good.
that was settled too, I think, at the last meeting. Dan told us what was gonna happen, or it will be at the next meeting.
They're all there.
But yes,
Everything is.
I
lot of history.
understand they're turning everything over to us.
The important thing, I think, to maintain, Larry, is the record of variances, you know, because, I mean, it's easy to tell somebody new whether they're in compliance or not, but there were a multitude of variances made over the years.
Yeah, quite obviously.
Yeah.
I've seen quite a few of them lately, but
Are those files, cabinets in this building now?
No.
No,
no. They're still up
I think
above.
they're still.
There's a tremendous amount of files up
They
there.
were talking about putting them in Ken Brown's crawl space.
I've been trying to find it a month.
It would take that. Okay.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you very much. Okay.
We've already talked about everything, I guess, that we have on our agenda for today. So if there is no other discussion, I would accept a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Childers, seconded by Commissioner Stamps, that we adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
And all that good stuff.
All that good stuff.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to Iowa for Christmas?